Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Crimi-trent. Today is Watercolor Wednesday and we're going to be painting some loose and sweet, fun lupins. These grow wild up in Maine and they're so fun and easy. They kind of look like a lilac in a way, but they have different types of leaves and blooms. And we're only using one brush, the Princeton Neptune 1/2" oval point brush. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go over supplies. Today I have a curveball for you guys. I'm painting on my Arches 100% hot press paper. It's the pink pad. Because quite frankly I ran out of my cold press and it's being delivered sometime next week. And I have my paper towel here, my paints I'll go over. I will be using, from the whole entire video, this one brush, which is the Princeton 1/2" Neptune series oval wash brush, and it has a nice super point to it. It will give you the leaves and the actual blooms of the lupin. It's a great brush to have. I think this is like a staple brush. I actually put it in a video that I had of brushes that I use. And my water, of course, up here. And I'm going to be like, you can't see me doing it, but I'm standing up as I'm painting because it's just an easier way to make a looser lupin. Now what I did before, just for the heck of it, I decided to see how it looked on the hot press. I just did one simple one. I was starting to do the second one. And you'll see it's going to be much different. See how you get these bleeds of these hard edges, but I kind of like that. And then the cold press, I tried on a scrap that I had. A lot different, right? And I really like the hot press for this. There's different reasons to like hot press and cold press. Like I said, the more wet it is in the hot press, you're gonna get these hard edge, funky little bleeds, but that's cool. I mean, I like that. And this one's gonna just be that flatter type of bleed. And kind of work what you have, you know, so you don't always have to have the cold press paper. You do the best you have, what you have. If you can't afford these papers because they're kind of pricey, you do the Canson paper or the Strathmore paper. Especially as a beginner, you don't need to do something that's real expensive. So I'm taking my crappy brush. I'm going to mix up some paint. I'm going to mix up more green than I had before because when I was practicing, I went right through it. So this is like a medium green and a hooker's green. You know me. And I'm going to throw that burnt umber in there. I always throw that in there. I just like a little brown or green. I'm sorry. Everyone always gravitates towards colors. It's just how it goes. I have just ordered a bunch of Holbein gouache because Jerry's Artorama had a nice big sale. It might be still going on. So if you go over, check out their website. And, you know, it's still kind of pricey for some of the tubes. Like I said, some tubes are $12 or even $9 on sale. Never mind, regular price. And actually the ones with new professional watercolors are even pricier than that, which is because they're not really on sale like the Holbein. And why I love Holbein like gouache, the color intensity. So here's ultramarine blue and purple dioxide mixed together because I like this bluish purple. These flowers are growing in my yard right now. I was going to take a picture with my camera. I'll put it in stories. I'm going to go out there today and put in stories. And show you where they're growing. I had tons of them all along my fence, but now there's just a few because I was trying to clean out my fence along in the garden. It was just getting overgrown with stuff. So this is there was already green in my palette here, and I just added some of that lemon yellow. I'm gonna add some more of that because the top of the blooms you want like this greenish lemon yellow. Okay, we'll leave that. So going to start like this bloom, and I haven't attached although I didn't paint like that. I'll attach an image to the description box so if you haven't seen what a lupin looks like, just to go by this. Obviously I looked at it, but I'm not really painting that way. Like I said, I'm so used to seeing them in my yard, just gonna paint the way I know how to paint. So you can start one or two ways. You can pencil in like this a silhouette where you want it to go, or you can just paint it in like me because that's how I work. Also, I'm going to be using some of this burnt umber first too. So I'll take some of that burnt umber, just get a little loose. I got it on the dirty side of the palette. You know, that's the dirty, dark side of the palette. I'll dab it a little bit on my paper towel. And I'll show you many times I stand up and I have this guide here. And I'll just go from the top and I'll guide myself downward in a curve, just like that. I might put a couple of, so the lupins have like these, it's a tall stalk. They'll have these little branches off of them, and then you'll have those purple blooms off of those. And then you have these funky leaves that are like, you know, like a 5.6, 6.7. You know, there's a bunch of different ones. I kind of say they look like a marijuana leaf in a way, but they're not. This brush is great because you're going to use the brush to your advantage. So I mixed up the purple paint. Get a little wet. Let me dab it on my paper towel first. So you're going to use the brush to your advantage to make these blooms because they're very pointy, but they have a belly on the bottom and pointy on top. So what I did was just take the brush and push down, come back. Look at that. Let me zoom in so you can see. Push down, pull it back. And you've got the lupin bloom just from using the brushes. Sometimes these brushes, you know, if you have certain kind of brushes, they just make the blooms for you. So I'm just pushing down like that. And doing here another row. Because they could kind of be in rows of the sporadic, kind of like a, you see this, they're kind of like, almost like a lilac. See, I'm putting some in here like that. Now some have a tinged, if you want to get realistic, some green towards the bottom or a little pinkish. But we're just going like this. See, I'm just taking the brush and using it to my advantage. Some of these brushes, the oval brushes, work great that way. As you get closer to the top, you see these blooms start to get really tight. Then you have the ones that aren't even open yet. So we're going to fill that in. Get really tight. Now see how they did that weird wash because I showed you before. You can go back over that. Just fill that in if you're not liking the way that looks. What's the difference between the hot press and the cold press? It's a different texture. It's flat. But also, this is the paper meant for like realistic watercolor, people more botanical watercolors, where they're not using so much water. You know, it's more just a slight creamy texture watercolor paper. That's why I use with gouache with this, because gouache is a thicker consistency. So as I'm getting into those at the top, I'm going to take this like limey green color and I'm going to make these little ones up here, leaving some white space, as you see. If you want to grab some pink, just take some of this red out, clean this red up, grab my paper towel, clean up my palette. A little pink. Seems like a little pink in between the bloom. You could just kind of tap it and bleed it if you want. Just like that. You don't have to do that. You can just leave it green. And you can even throw in a little burnt umber. Just a little bit. In between them too. So this is a loose style. I'm not painting this super realistic. And when you mix some creamy purple dioxide and the ultramarine, where it's less water, we can get down, get a little darker on the bottom or inside a little bit. So you can go on top of these colors here. Again, using this brush to your advantage. Get even darker down in here. You're just whipping in there like that. See, I'm just making this movement. It's that simple. You can go back in and put some of the branches in here. I get a little darker. Now we're going to grab that green that we mixed, and we're going to put in some of the greenery. Some of the stems have the greenery coming up off of it, so I turn the brush on its side. See that? Again, I'm using my pinky to hold the brush up if I'm standing up. It's different if you're sitting down. You have more control. It's hard to have control when you're standing. And we're just going to use a skinny part of it. I think it's that pointy leaf. See, I'm turning the brush. Down here, make a bigger one. It has that great point. And these leaves are very pointy. These grow wild up in Maine. Colder climates, much colder climates. So it comes out in... Okay, I had just stopped the video. My studio mate, which is my golden doodle Brady, is growling at a fly or a bee in my studio. If you hear him bark or growl, you'll know why. So there you go, there's the leaves. And that's him shaking his doodle in this. And we're going to do another one over here. Grab this brown, just for a guide. Put another stem over in here. And we'll do another lupin over here. Clean off our brush. We'll grab that purple mixture with the ultramarine paint. Again, we're just going to do those swooping blooms. This is a loose tutorial, as always. I like to keep it loose. And Elvis would say, if you know who Elvis is, turn me loose. But it's just the way I like to paint. Everyone has their own way of painting. Some people paint realistically, and I just do more of an expressional type painting. You get the idea what it is without having to go in and do the real bits and parts that are realistic. So here I'm showing you, I'm taking the point of the brush, adding the darker colors. Kind of a little more blue on this one, actually. You can change it up. They come in like pink color too, like a pinky purple. I think they come in white also. I did have a house years ago where we had the variety of them, but all, for some reason in my yard, it's all purple. I don't know how that happened, but you know, it is what it is. And generally when you go up to Maine, you see a lot of purple ones. So here, I'm making this one a little darker than that one. You want to change it up just a bit. Make it feel a little more special than the first one, right? Clean up my brush, and I'll go in and add that lime green color going up top. Just filling in. I'll grab some of that pink. Or you could grab some of the purple, put that in between too. So however you want to do it, even the darker green. I would take some of this lime green too and put it in between some of these spaces, I'm sorry, not places, of the lupins. Again, go back up here. I'm putting some more up here too. So you get the idea, and of course you know me. You can leave it at 2. I'll probably throw in a third. Again, I'm going to grab some of this purple dioxide, some ultramarine, maybe a touch of indigo, get a little darker, a deep dark bluish purple. Get down in here, just get a little darker in some of these, maybe down here too. I wouldn't do it in all of them. I would just throw in, you know, some of the really deep tones on one side. Just to get the variety. And then we'll go back in and we'll add some of those leaves. And so you really need to mix up a lot of paint. Some of these papers that I'm using soak up the color a lot. Again, put them over brown. Make these pointy leaves. There's a stem coming off. Getting my dirty brown. You know, and you can add background tones. You can wash out some of the purple and put some bleeding purple next to it. Now this paper won't really do that kind of bleed like the cold press, so you have to just keep that in mind. So if you have hot press, go ahead and use it like I am. If you don't, use the cold press. Like I said, it will be a different kind of scenario with the cold press, but the same technique with the brush. Like I said, you can put some of these leaves back here. I think I might just keep the two. Or maybe I'll throw in a small third. Maybe a teeny baby. Right there. I like to do things in threes. So it's just how I work. Just do a baby, little baby one. It's the same kind of deal. You're just going to make it smaller. You can even add more pink tones to this one, just to change it up. And of course, the unopened part on top. See, I'm just bleeding that in. I'm making mine very loose. It's just how I like to work, like I told you. And then put the little leaves. Let's grab some of this darker green and some burnt umber. Getting a little messy there. I'll have to fix that up. So this is what we're doing on a Watercolor Wednesday. Like I said before, on my channel I'll be adding in some different types of mediums. That was my intention in the beginning. For some reason I got pigeonholed into like a watercolor channel, and it's kind of not who I am. I do all kinds of stuff. So I will be doing that here, and having the same thing over on my Patreon, which I put a thing out on the community page about that I will be transferring over to Patreon, getting rid of the YouTube membership. It just makes more sense for me. I can add more things I didn't even realize. I'm learning, don't know about all this stuff, and just kind of going as I go, and it just seems like a better place to be. So for all the people who joined on membership, I'm going to continue the 4 extra videos this month in June, and then cancel out of that, and you can just go over to Patreon and join there. And it's the same. There's different tiers on that one. There's one extra one that's I've never done. It's an exclusive. The higher tier is where you will get a free, well, not free, it comes with the tier, a PDF download of one of my paintings that you can print out for your personal use. So you can print it out, put it on your walls, you know, give it to a friend for a gift. I think that's a great deal. I rare put a download on my Etsy shop because of issues I've had in the past with copyright infringement. So that's a great new thing that I'm going to be doing. A couple of other artists do that as well, but I figured, why not? Let's give it a try. So there you go. That's the lupin. And again, go in and add some deeper. Don't be afraid. See, I put that indigo, and here's the hooker's green, and grab some more of this green and get in there and throw in some darker tones. I mean, it's kind of generally like one tone green in this photograph, which is fine, but be creative. You know, you don't have to follow the picture. That's why it's called expression, you know. You want to make it your own. Give it your expression. And it takes time. You figure your footing. And even as you're painting for a long time, like myself, you change it over time. Your expression of painting changes. Some people who never did abstracts start to do abstracts. You know, you're growing, you're learning. It's what we're here for, right? Learn and grow. So there, I've just added some darker tones. And there you go. I think this is a pretty simple, straightforward tutorial on lupins. And if you've never seen or heard about them, go look them up. They grow wild. So it's another wild type of flower. See, in this one I'm going to add a little pink in there, just to change it up, make it different. Thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel, being supportive, subscribing, all the things. You guys are so supportive. I appreciate everything. You know, like I'm just growing on the channel and growing my content. I'm learning as I go, and I love all your support. So take care, and I'll speak to you soon.